Hey guys, this is my pencil cactus, and I don't think I've shown it since I put it in bonsai soil and a bonsai pot. It's doing pretty well. I've had it outside now for maybe a month, and mostly in shade on my porch area, but a few days ago I moved it farther out into the yard so it can get some more sun. And yeah, I think it's doing very well. The only water it gets is basically rainwater when it rains. I really don't water it myself at all during the summer because it gets rainwater and that's more than enough for it. So one of the things I'm going to do now is trim a couple pieces back, as usual with this plant at least. I'm going to trim away pieces that are touching or crossing each other, or just pieces that, seem like they're getting tangled. Okay, I'm done cutting, and I really didn't have to take off that much this time because the previous couple times I've trimmed it, I've made sure to trim it very carefully so that following the same rule that things should not be crossing and rubbing up against each other, because there are some bare spots along the stems where I think things have kind of crossed and have caused problems. One thing of note is that you may or may not see on the camera is that where I cut pieces off, there's a white sap dripping. I'll see if I can get a close-up of that quick. There we go. This is the white sap that comes from it. I've said it in other videos of this, but you do not want your pets getting at this, cats or dogs. It can just cause a lot of irritation and other problems, so you just want to avoid that. So in general, you probably don't want your pets around this plant. I keep it outside, so I'm really not worried. Another thing of note here is that I have rocks placed on top of my soil. So originally that was kind of a precaution to make sure that the plant itself stayed in place and did not tip over. The way I had planted this was based on how the root layout was, the root plane. I found out when transferring this to bonsai soil that this was actually 3 cuttings kind of combined into one, but they were still able to be separated. I did decide to keep them together though, and so the rocks are still there because the plant is not completely stable even now. I'm not 100% sure how fast roots grow on a, I'd say 5 or 6 year old plant. So I'm, just making sure that I can stay up until it grows some better roots. One other thing I noticed when transplanting this plant from its old pot to a bonsai pot, the roots had stopped about 2 pots ago and were pot bound kind of in that position. when I had transplanted it into its last pot, I must not have done enough work combing out the roots or kind of trying to untangle them or anything at all. So the plant itself, its roots never grew into its last pot. There's a whole inch to 2 inches of soil that were empty of any roots. It was just it was just the soil there. So of course, because I was putting this in a bonsai pot and kind of now styling it to be more of a bonsai plant, I had combed out the roots in a radial pattern, and I think they're doing better now. That hopefully kind of forced them to keep reaching out. This soil is a lot looser, so I think they'll have an easier time of growing through this soil. And yeah, I think judging by the growth on this plant, that it is doing well. So I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. I think I will not be pruning this plant again until winter, if at all. We'll see.